wait. The bar's got that swing. Glasses clink, hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for the day. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. The sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Salud, welcome. Happy Monday to you. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I know I sure did. And looking forward to starting my week off with all of you guys. We're halfway through the first day, so hope everything is going well for you so far. Let me know in the chat. Seeing all your lovely faces. None more lovely than my lovely Netter of Netters Network. How you doing, my dear? She says, like, share, subscribe, become a member, and leave a comment. Yes, do all of the YouTube things. That makes me very, very happy. Have a great show, my friend. Thank you so much, Big Al. Big Al Presents. You'll be seeing a lot of him this week, as you'll see in the promos later on. He is joining Netter on Netter's Network on Thursday. And, of course, it's his week on Saturday night at the movies. So, and, of course, well, if he doesn't have one planned, I'll bet you we see at least one review this week. And I know he's got a number of them up from last week. Definitely go check those out. Mark says, Merpo! Yes, it is lunchtime. Resting and watching trains after visiting the eye doctor. Dilation makes this interesting. Yes. Make sure you wear those dark glasses, because when your eyes are dilated, you're getting too much light in your eyes, and that can be uncomfortable and potentially bad for your vision. Not that you have to worry about that long term, but in the short term, just wear those sunglasses at night, in the day. And Mark says he likes the opening song. Yes, I do too. Sophie has a wonderful voice. Jonathan Conroy says, hail all, smash the like button and enjoy the show. And good afternoon to you as well, Jonathan Conroy. Thank you so much. I'm next to the Pepperidge Farm Bakery. I hear they have a good memory. They are making cinnamon rolls today. Smells like... the smell is getting to me. There you go. Good, good. Oh, I love the smell of cinnamon rolls. Remember going to, well, not the malls, but when I used to work, where was it? Somewhere up north. I'd take the expressway, and there was one of those overpass, what are they called? The Oasis, and you'd pull over and there was like kiosks. They had a kiosk there for Cinnabon. Oh, that place smelled so wonderful in the morning, I gotta tell you. So, you guys are probably, by this point, if you guys have been following my liquid lunches on a fairly regular basis, you kind of get the idea that at least part of the idea behind liquid lunch is this is kind of well, for me, it's a working lunch, right? I am actually doing my job. I am broadcasting to all of you in the middle of the day, but it's a kind of working lunch because I'm also kind of doing my research, fresh now and kind of going through it with you guys. So what I'm getting ready to do is check my favorite outlet for entertainment news, and that's that Park Place. Going to see what we got going since this weekend. Welcome, Joe. Good to see you. Happy Monday. So let's go ahead and get into it. If I did the share screen right, there we go. I actually got it right this time. I didn't have to move over and then bring it up. So, I really do try not to get political, but it's getting increasingly more and more difficult because it just seems like there's elements in this world that want to turn everything into politics. They turn a denim ad into a political uproar to the point where they not only have to go crazy on the social medias, but now apparently they are going into voters registration so that they can try to demonize this girl that they don't like because she's pretty. Seriously, that is really the reason. She is pretty. They are jealous. Because who is the ones coming out and complaining about this? It's a bunch of liberal women that literally just are jealous. Good-looking guy does an ad. I don't get pissed off about him. I go, I could use a shave. Probably need to get to the gym. Yeah, I don't think I need those Cinnabons this morning. That's how guys react. Women get catty. Some women. I shouldn't say all women. The ones that would end up looking like this would do the same thing I do. Yeah. Okay, I could do a few more sit-ups, People that don't want to take personal responsibility for themselves are the ones that suffer the most and want everyone else to suffer with them. But I am going to take a little bit different stand on this. Voter registration. Why does this have to become public knowledge? It's not supposed to, right? Your voter registration is supposed to be private. So how does that become public? Gee, I wonder. Our founding fathers did not intend there to be a voter's registration. You were supposed to go and vote for whomever you wanted, regardless of party. In fact, it was originally intended there wouldn't be parties. Things operated very differently at the beginning. Once the party system took over, all kinds of corruption just started. Let's put it that way. What's Mark saying here? Some posts even said she looked too Aryan. Okay, and I'll tell you exactly why they said that. Because the tagline or the slogan for the ads were, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. And it's kind of a double entendre, right? Because the ad is clearly about denim jeans. Jeans. But she's also a very attractive woman. And that's something that comes naturally because of her genes. Genes. Right? And they got so focused on that because they're talking about genes. She's blonde with blue eyes. Therefore, German National Socialist of the 1930s, right? Forgetting the fact that it wasn't too long ago that Beyonce had an ad very similar to this, and no one batted an eye. Gee, I wonder why. I've already said that I think it would be kind of smart if they wait about 6 months, 9 months, let this campaign run its course, and then American Eagle turns around and does the exact same thing with a different girl of a different ethnicity. You know? Because she has great genes too, right? It's not about the color of the skin. It's about how the genes fit. But yeah, I'm a little bothered by this whole voter registration thing. You know, people can find out who you register for. That's why actually there's a lot more people that are independent, not by choice, but because they refuse to vote in a primary because they do not want to declare a party. Because they know, exactly like this, it can get out and, they'll be outed as one party or the other. And I'll be honest with you, I have a friend, my attorney here in the Chicago area. He is registered Democrat, even though he would otherwise always vote Republican, because Chicago, right? And politically you're effed if you're not a Democrat, so he registers Democrat, right? He hopes to run for judge someday. So, yeah, it's just absolute crazy corruption. And again, this isn't something that I really wanted to get into, but it is front and center in entertainment. Voter records are generally public so that campaigns can get them. I have pulled the list of many campaigns I work for. Again, exactly why people do not want to register, you know? And you wouldn't have to register, except some states require you to choose a party in order to vote in a primary. I can't vote, for example, for both a Democratic primary and a Republican primary. I have to choose one. And it's really important that you vote in primaries. If they keep you out of it because of this stuff, what happens? You only have the two parties to choose from, and they're both corrupt hacks. This is why they always say primary out the rhino, right? The Republican in name only, right? The I could name any number of politicians that claim to be Republican but act more like Democrats, right? Liz Cheney, for example. She's a Republican in name only, you know. And in fact, unless I'm mistaken, the only Republican guest on The View last year, you know. So what does that tell you? You know, hey, we had a conservative. She's not a conservative. She is not a conservative. She needs to be primaried out, you know. But on the other side too, you've got some serious socialists that Democrats don't like that are taking over their parties, and it's like, well, you should primary them out. You really, really should. That's how politics works. But I did not want to focus on this. I wanted to get back to our topic from last week because I knew this week we would have better numbers on this. So the Fantastic Four projected to become Marvel's third flop of 2025. Of 2025. This isn't like third flop in the MCU or something like that. This is the third flop just this year. And we're only halfway through the year. Making 6 of 7 MCU films box office losers. Let's get into this a little bit. As Fantastic Four First Steps head for flop territory with a 66%. Okay, this is the third time I'm seeing this number updated because WDW Pro gave us early numbers, I think it was on Saturday, saying 61%. Variety came out yesterday, early yesterday, saying 64% drop. Now we're at 66% drop in its second week. We'll get to why that's really important in just a minute. 66% or more. So it could still be leveled up a bit. Drop at the box office in its second weekend. Marvel's track record is producing more financial failures than successes, and this is becoming common knowledge. Whatever the cause, and we know all the causes, Kevin Feige's grand plan for the fourth and fifth phase of Marvel have been as awful as the first three phases were record-breaking in the other direction. Since 2020, Disney's once infallible Marvel Studios has experienced a sharp downturn in the box office, with many of its recent theatrical releases failing to turn a profit by traditional Hollywood accounting standards. Using the commonly accepted benchmark that a film must earn at least twice its production budget plus the P&A expenses to account for global marketing and distribution costs, a number of Marvel titles distributed by Disney have either flopped financially or barely broken even, an alarming trend for what was once the most bankable franchise in entertainment history. So this comes from Same Desu. This is a factor of multiple things. Marvel had so many flops for so long that people no longer care about it. The next thing is Pedro Pascal fatigue, and the third is the cast openly discussing their political views, which is a turn-off at best and a complete alienation of your, well, I think we know where that's going. I don't need to actually go to the tweet on that. Interestingly, Variety is saying Friday on the big screen making for a devastating 80% drop from its debut, specifically talking about domestic. Wow. That's wow. So in other words, that 64% number higher up would be higher, is only lower than 80% because we're looking at global, not just domestic. That's wow. And remember, not all countries necessarily have premieres at the same time. So it could be that the second week for us was the first week for another country, which would kind of offset that drop if you're looking at a global number. That's what I'm getting at. What's this about X-Men? Yeah, X-Men. I fully expect X-Men to take center stage in Avengers Doomsday. I don't think anyone's excited about MCU characters, and I expect some Fox actors to be retained for the MCU. Well, I always say if you want to predict the future, look to the past, right? If you know your history, you can generally make good, educated guesses about the future. So let's look at a smaller scale analogy of what Disney has done. Look at what happened with Daredevil, right? They started a new series. They retained what's his name, Cox, the one that played him. That they kept Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, and even though, you know, the deep weeds tell us this is not the same characters, this is a different universe, the continuity isn't the same, the audiences just assume it's the same. This is a continuation of the Netflix thing. They don't know the difference. They're owned by the same company. It's the same actors, and Disney is happy to let you continue believing that. And they're going to probably do the same thing with the X-Men. However, they're also going to make the mistake that I see happening over at Warner with the Gunverse, where they want to keep certain things, but there's other things they want to reboot, so it gets very convoluted and very confusing. But another aspect of something you just said here, Joe, I think is absolutely true. Nobody cares about these new DEI Avengers that they've put together. They got rid of the characters we liked, and they swapped them out for gender and race swapped versions of them that we no longer care about. Not because they are gender and race swapped, but because they didn't put in any more energy than that into making us care about them. They're not real people. They're just tokens, is what they are. So you're right. They're probably going to focus on the X-Men a little bit better. What they really should have done was, especially if they're going to F around with all of this multiverse crap, they should have taken a page from DC with their Crisis on Infinite Earths and done a full-on reboot that goes back and retroactively weaves these characters into the history. There should have been, and they actually did this with, they have the template for it. They did it themselves with Ant-Man. The Ant-Man movie went back and inserted Michael Douglas's character, Hank Pym, inserts him into past history, you know, and weave that in. They need to do that with the X-Men. And it looked like they were going to do that with the Fantastic Four and then just completely screwed the pooch on that one. I refuse to believe Spider-Man is any sort of success as well if Fantastic Four is a failure. A lot of pointless hit pieces on Fantastic Four, but Fantastic Four and Superman have underperformed. See, that's the key. Like you said, hit pieces, what does that mean? That's just opinion, okay? And I'm not expressing an opinion about Fantastic Four. I have told you why I don't like the casting and why I'm not interested in seeing it. But I haven't seen the movie, so I can't give you a review on it. I can only repeat what other people who have seen it said, the positive and the negative, but none of that matters. All that matters is the numbers. All that matters is how well it does. And going back to what you said before is nobody's excited about it. It could be the best movie ever. But the perception people have of Disney in general, MCU in particular, is stay away. It's done. It's not worth it. So it never even gets the time of day. And that's why you have, you would have expected if it was really good that enough people liked it, there would have been enough good word of mouth after the first week that you wouldn't have a big drop off. You would see happen what happened with Superman. That didn't happen with Fantastic Four. It dropped off by 80% domestically. Holy craps. They need to stop hiring sorry ass actors. Okay. It took me a second Took me a second to get what you were saying. The reason Disney sucks right now. Yeah. And again, that's Pedro Pascal. That's Pedro Pascal. I think everyone else in this film would have been serviceable. They're not the best choices, but they would have been serviceable, except Pedro Pascal. I said this the other day. What a prideful, arrogant piece of crap he is. I can't shave off my mustache. You know, I mean, this was funny when it was Cesar Romero playing the Joker, right? And then just putting white makeup over his mustache. That's funny, right? Which totally fits the farcical nature of the Batman movie. That's not this. This is unprofessional. This is unprofessional. We just watched on Netter's Network last night, G.I. Jane. And there's the scene where she's shaving her head, right? And Netter's like, wonder if she got paid extra for that. And I said, I don't know if you consider it extra. It's certainly worked into the contract. So you agree to whatever you're going to make, knowing that part of the job is taking off your hair. And then, of course, there's the thing about, well, I hope they had a lot of cameras on her because you only can do that once. It's true. It's absolutely true. But actually, that's not entirely true. There is a way you can get another take, but it's expensive. It's not worth it. You'd literally have to outfit her with a very realistic wig and then destroy it. And that's, those kinds of wigs are very, very expensive. You would not want to do that. But anyway, there you go. Turning Silver Surfer into a female was a good idea. Story makes more sense. I disagree with you on that. First off, it's not true to the source material. The Silver Surfer is the Silver Surfer. You know, he has his history. This character has a different history and a different story. And they didn't even play it up. They didn't even play into any, from what I've heard. Again, I didn't see it. They didn't play into her like being a mom, for example, which would have been on brand with the whole Sue Storm story and the Franklin and all that. There's no explanation whatsoever. And she's totally okay with going around and killing other planets. Why? You know, you don't have the impetus. She's trying to protect her child, so she's, willing to sacrifice everything for her child. There's a lot of story elements that could have been compelling, but they didn't go the one step farther to actually make it work. Again, from what I've heard. In worst case scenario, if next movie of both Marvel and DC underperform, Disney is still in a better place than Warner Brothers. Disney will relaunch Marvel and Warner Brothers will have to sell DC. I see what you're saying about DC, but I'm not sure I follow your logic on Marvel. Marvel has been failing longer and harder and come from a much higher place. Its downward trajectory is much harder to pull out of. If anything, James Gunn doing a reboot, the only thing he's fighting really is the Snyder Bros at this point, who are a force. They are not a good enough force to make their version of DC popular. They didn't go to the movies enough to see it and support it, but they can bitch about it online, better than a purple-haired weirdo, But yeah, I think that if you can't get a decent film, which I hear that this Fantastic Four was, to do well anymore, and people are staying away because of brand dissatisfaction and actor fatigue, there is no hope going forward. Yeah. And this does not bode well for their Doomsday movie. Perhaps the most prominent example is the Marvels. Oh, God. Well, let's not even get into the historically bad. But at this point, you might bring up Eternals, Shang-Chi, Black Widow. Of those, only Shang-Chi may have broken even financially, yet they come from the pandemic era, so you could use that as an excuse. The trend continues in 2025 with Thunderbolts, which featured a roster of less-known anti-heroes. That's the other thing. People want heroes. We're getting kind of tired of anti-heroes. Oh, real quick, I want to say hi to Charlotte, Nightstar the Werewolf. Oh, welcome, my friend. It's always good to see you. Funny how none of this stuff interests me. Yeah. Maybe because I'm older. I prefer the black and white Superman TV show, original Batman, and 70s Spider-Man, Justice League, Wonder Woman. Yeah, I am going through a great deal of nostalgia for those 70s, like 60s and 70s era superheroes. I love. There's a couple of videos, some better than others, that imagine the George Reeves Superman, Adam West and Burt Ward, Batman and Robin, Linda Carter as Wonder Woman, as if they were in a Justice League. Not Justice League, Super Friends movie. You know, they do like the voiceover from the cartoon and everything. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with Troy. Pascal is ass acting. Yeah. He's not acting. I have not seen him act. Pedro Pascal is Pedro Pascal in every movie or show he's in. He's the Mandalorian. He's Reed Richards. He's whatever he is. He's just him. Going through the motions. I doubt Spider-Man brand new. And there's another problem. That name triggers all the Spider-Man fans. That was a poor choice of names. We'll have this resurgence for MCU. That's the other problem. Keep in mind that this is a Sony share. They share Spider-Man with Sony. So that alone, handicaps it from a Disney perspective. The suit looks a lot like Andrew Garfield's suit. I don't care about Z-list Spider-Man villains. I only watch it for Spider-Man versus Hulk. And we talked about this last night on Geeky Geezers. I'm sick of Mark Ruffalo and that Professor Hulk. Spider-Man, Punisher, and Hulk will fight each other as per official report. Yeah. I mean, and let's face it, those were great stories in the comics when they did them. I do think, though, that you need to start learning to write heroes and quit giving us hero versus hero stories. I'm getting tired of Superman versus Batman, Hulk versus Spider-Man, Punisher versus Spider-Man, Iron Man versus Captain America. How about you fight a villain, damn it? And quit making the heroes the villains. I mean, am I crazy? Having seen a couple of better than expected reviews, I went to see Fantastic Four. It was not as bad as I feared. Yeah, and if that's the case, that tells you that it's not necessarily how good the movie is that it's not doing well. It's not doing well because Disney's not doing well. Because the fans have turned on Disney. They have lost the brand. It is brand fatigue, right? Because you didn't keep the love alive, right? It's like a bad marriage, right? You've been together for decades. You don't bring me flowers anymore. You don't sing me love songs. You just become roommates. It's what do they call it? Hallway sex. Saying fuck you as you walk past them in the hallway. That's what Marvel became, And unless you're willing to put in the work, keep the spark alive, it's gonna die. You know, that's just how it goes. The reason Silver Surfer was not a male, because Sony owns most rights to Silver Surfer. That's an interesting perspective I had, and that's another a ball of wax they needed to. But you know what? That's not an excuse. There is a female Herald of Galactus that they could have used. I forget her name, Fire something or other. She's a fire-based character. They could have used her. It didn't have to be Silver Surfer. You know? But again, they don't put in the effort to look into this kind of stuff. That being said, there were a couple of areas where bad editing was... Yeah, that's the other thing that we keep running into with Disney. It's people don't like this in test screenings. We got to go back and create a whole new ending for it. Not enough planning in the front, so they end up butchering it on the back end. Real quick, want to say hi to Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. Can't stay off to the airport. No worries. Thanks for stopping by and dropping in. I hope you hit the like button. And Connie Cleary, good to see you. Good to see you. And I will get caught up on the rest of the chats right after the promos and after I fill up my drink. I'll be back with you in just under 3 minutes.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together. This week on Live from Sparkwood and 21, we'll be watching David Lynch's 1999 biographical road drama about Alvin Strait, a 73-year-old man who learns that his estranged brother Lyle is critically ill. Unable to drive, Alvin embarks on a journey from Iowa to Mount Zion, riding a lawnmower. Join us this Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
Callie is dead, a victim of Servalan's booby-trapped bequest of a planet. The Liberator has been destroyed. With Avon colder than ever, the crew must raise the will to fight on for their lives. Cue the enigmatic Dorian with an escape route off-terminal and the offer of friendship. The team needs a rescue. This Tuesday on Last Call presents Blake 7 at 10 p.m. Central, 11 Eastern.
This Thursday night, Netter sits down with the guy who created the 10-word review, Big Al of Big Al Presents. You probably know him and his channel, but if not, you should, and here's your chance. This Thursday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, on Netter's Network.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, while matchmaking for friends and neighbors, a young 19th century English woman nearly misses her own chance at love. Cupid is armed and dangerous. Big Al presents Gwyneth Paltrow in Jane Austen's Emma, this week on Films with Friends. Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Papa Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it somewhere else, but Boomer and Pacelli put a spin on it you likely won't hear anywhere else. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
We now return to our Liquid Lunch.
By the way, Troy, a lot of these film critics don't even know what the abbreviation DC means. Film critics? Most of the people writing these films don't know what it means. Heck, there's probably people that work for DC Comics that don't know DC stands for Detective Comics. Certainly a lot of people that work with Batman don't know it's about detective work, right? Welcome, Curtis Selby. Yes, it's lunchtime. It's lunchtime. Let's see. Guys saying hi to each other. Always love to see that. Is Pedro really the Mandalorian? He is a glorified voice actor. That is an excellent point, because a lot of times it's just the stand-ins in that outfit. And if you pay close attention, you can tell when he's in it and when someone else is in it. And honestly, at this point, I would be perfectly fine with them recasting him. I would not have a problem with that at all. Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark has pointed out that WB has made money from the theatrical releases versus Disney. That's a great point. Disney has done a better job, especially with this Superman movie. They've done better about keeping costs lower so that they have less of a production budget to get over. And at this point, I do think that, and I'm basing this on nothing. I've done no research. I have no numbers to look at, but just gut instinct from what I've seen as a toy guy. I do get the impression that the DC toys are now selling better than the Marvel toys are. Marvel toys are ending up on Ollie's and other clearance shelves, whereas DC is selling pretty well. I am surprised that Fantastic Four didn't become the anti-flop the way Waterworld was. Yeah. There you go. Thank you so much, and welcome, Nate. Like, share, subscribe, comment, become a member, please. Please do that. If you notice how, like, romantic drama is removed from Spider-Man and Superman movies, these movies have more comic book heroes than the important supporting characters. Excellent point. Old movies had that charm, and that also falls under. I would even bring that a little bit more narrow. They're spending more time trying to build up the next movie and the related movies and all of that to hook you, rather than hooking you by making you care about the character, right? At the end of the movie, you should care about whether or not, Peter and MJ are going to be together, and I'm concerned about Aunt May's health, and, what about that debt that Peter Parker has to pay off? How's he going to get the money, and so on and so forth. But you don't have that. It's, yeah, he's going to fight the Hulk. I'm looking forward to that. Let me shovel the popcorn in, I work with a guy who refers to his wife as the roomie. That's terrible. That is just miserable. But in this socialist worldview, the bad guys are the oppressed victims, hence why they don't fight villains. It's also why people don't resonate with the stories. They just don't understand human nature. All they understand is the propaganda they're trying to push. They're fighting against nature, right? They want you to like things you don't like. They want you to hate things you are conditioned over millions of years to love, right? I'm sorry. Sydney Sweeney appeals to people because she is attractive. Why is she attractive? Why are those, completely unimportant elements of, body shape, hair color, eye color, why are these important? Because they've been conditioned into us by millions of years of evolution. Your tweets on the internet are not going to change what guys find attractive and what women, feel envious of. It's just not. Have you known? Oh yeah, I read that. The funny thing is, the Silver Surfer, as a mother, would have worked better if she had face off against Sue, not Johnny. Exactly my point. They were trying to push the, hey, Johnny's not gay. We don't know he's gay. My gaydar goes off all over on this guy, except they keep saying that he's a womanizer. They don't show it, but they say it. They keep saying it. So he likes girls. He's into the girls. But then they couldn't have had weird alien sexual tension, right? Exactly. Like, how about exploring Peter and Harry and Clark and Jimmy dynamic more than exploring Mr. Terrific? You know, Clark and Jimmy, I got a suggestion here. They keep having a problem with tone, right? It's too funny, it's not funny enough, la la la, this and that. Do a straight Superman movie, right? And then in the off year, while you're working on another Superman movie, you do a Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen movie, and you make that one funny. You know? That would be smart. And then you have, like, you know, guest appearances by, you know, you make the Superman Clark Kent character the supporting character in that one, you know? And yeah, you could you know, go through the dynamics of that. I don't know. Yeah, that would be some pretty good stuff. I don't know why they keep trying to push Pedro Pascal as the leading man when Neil Patrick Harris is more manly than Pedro Pascal. Because he's also an actor, right? He was such a good actor that for years I had no idea he was gay. No gaydar was going off on him, right? Look at him in what's that show? How I Met Your Mother, right? Where he plays a womanizing guy. I totally believe that. And then you find out he's queer as a $2 bill, and it's like, well, he's a pretty good actor then, you know? Yeah, well, anyway, that's just, I don't know. Curtis Selby, there's no such thing as a toxic masculinity. It's a term they made up because this is exactly what I was talking about. You know, millions of years of evolution, right? What do women find attractive? Masculinity. That's why it exists, because it's been selectively bred into us. Women don't want to mate with girly men. They want the masculine men, right? It's why you also run into that whole, why do the women keep liking the bad boys, the bad boys, the bad boys? Because they play into all the masculine tropes that get the women all juicy. Just saying. And I don't care how much you keep calling it toxic. You know, tend to like toxic things. You know? Toxic things are things that people enjoy and become addicted to. You know, Surgeon General warning on the side of the tobacco product has not caused people to quit, you know. But yeah, exactly. I remember running into that with somebody I was talking to at some get-together, and I said, they said something about toxic masculinity. I said, excuse me, I identify as masculine. Do you have a problem with how I identify? And that just caused them all kinds of dissonance. They had no idea how to respond to that. Do a straight Superman and then do a pink kryptonite Superman. Don't give them ideas, damn it. Welcome, by the way, Samuel Procter. Secret Wars is a reset. A singular timeline as per Kevin Feige. And yet they keep going back to the alternate universe thing. That's the problem. And who the hell saw Secret Wars? That's the other problem they have. If you didn't do your homework, you have no idea what's going on in this universe anymore. And increasingly less and less people are doing that homework. I think MCU Spider-Man will benefit a lot from having Osborns in the MCU. Ned Leeds is Genki. It's rumored post-Secret Wars Osborns could be coming to MCU because of the reset. Okay. I didn't know that there was some kind of reset involved in this Secret Wars thing. So, like, make Jimmy Olsen go between comedy and drama like a reverse Lou Grant. Yeah, I guess so. Oh, wow, there's a reference for you youngins. We have to get rid of masculinity if we want a satanic one world government. Well, you got a point there too. Well, it's also why they want to nix the 2A. Those masculine things, those are the defensive measures. Those are the things that protect you, and they want to eliminate your protection. Yet 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl almost ruined our nuclear power capability due to toxicity. Yeah, which is ironic because, again, that so-called toxicity is probably our best option for energy going forward. Okay, and I think that I'm caught up. So let's just real quick before we wrap up. Influencers in Full Meltdown is Fantastic Four First Steps box office plummets in second weekend roundup. Second weekend flop, excuse me. This is the same essential formula as what I was saying about the Snyder Bros. You are so vocal on social media. Why aren't you in the theater right now spending your money watching the movie again? Because that's really all that matters is the ticket sales. What you bitch about online generates no money for the studio. It doesn't. You got to put your money where your mouth is or you lose it. And I don't care if that's, a big major studio or a little YouTuber guy. If you want to continue to consume that piece of entertainment, they've got to stay financially viable or they will go away. And I don't care how much these identitarians, and that's what it really is, these people that identify, whether they're pixie dusters for Disney or they're, MCU jabronis, it's part of their identity. And they've weaved this in with things like politics. Like, if you don't love Marvel, you hate liberalism or whatever it is they've identified it as. And the two should not be synonymous, but to these people's identitarianism, it is. And so they go into this meltdown, this crisis of conscience. Get ye to the cinema then. Quit bitching online. All the time you spend typing, you could be spending money supporting this thing. You're not doing it. It's going to go away. But it comes down to the fact that there aren't enough of them to keep it financially viable. That's survival of the fittest. I don't care if it's evolution or it's, the democracy of capitalism. It's not a philosophy. It's a force of nature. It's numbers, physics. It's inescapable. You can't change the laws of physics. You can't change the laws of supply and demand. The more you try, the more you screw things up. And that seems to be very much what's happening with our modern entertainment. So tomorrow is Tuesday. That means that you guys tell me what you want to talk about. We talked about the things I wanted to talk about today. Didn't really get to all of them, but talked about some of them. Tomorrow, I will be focused more than I was even today on your comments. And you tell me what you guys want to talk about tomorrow. Tonight, those of you that are members, which are a lot of you here, you guys chose in the poll. We will be watching the 2025 so-called live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. That will be tonight at 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. And the link is already up on the members members, not the members tab, but the community tab. Only members can see it. And if you're not a member and you would like to join us for the Monday, every Monday rewatch film parties, watch parties, whatever you want to call them, membership here is as little as $2 a month. $2, you get an average of 4 films a week, and you can, four films a week, 4 films a month. That's 1 a week, and you can support, this channel and keep it alive if you are enjoying what we do here. So that is that. Of course, you guys all saw the promos for what's coming up this week, so you guys know. And with that, I will get back to editing. Monday is my big editing day, so you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your lunch if you're still in the middle of your lunch. Otherwise, get back to work. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high.